guys, my name is Sofia. I'm from Costa Rica originally, but now I'm living here in the UK, and I work for Leaf, as Samuel was telling you. I'm a software engineer at Leaf. I've been working there as a full stack developer for around 4 years now. Yeah. So for the people who don't know, Leaf is a tech company that provides end-to-end performance marketing services for e-commerce businesses. If you want to know specifically a bit more about Leaf as a company, you can visit our website, which is leafgrow.io. I can share it on the chat after that presentation. So, today I'm here. I wanted to discuss with you guys some of the challenges that we have been facing as developers in Leaf in the past few years. Before getting into specific details on what the challenges are, I'm going to give like an overview, a high scope of what our product is about. The challenges are divided into like the first two is more like developer infrastructure challenges. And then the last one is like the typical challenge that you face when you use for your product a third-party service. In this case, it's going to be Facebook Marketing API. So before I begin with the challenges, I wanted to explain a bit about the campaign insights. As I said, we are a marketing tech company. So this means that in our platform, the users are able to launch and manage their campaigns, their advertising campaigns. In that sense, we have also campaigns insights and reporting. I've been the lead developer of the campaign insights and reporting department for a while. So what are the campaign insights? The campaign insights, it's a way to be able to display all of the data that an ad or a campaign generates when it's running. We try to give our users a very understandable view of what is happening, and we try to make it as simple as possible. This is very important for the performance marketing team because if they have the precise data in a very understandable way, they're going to be able to make the best decisions to improve the campaigns and their performance. So overall, like a very high scope on how the architecture of our platform works, is something like this. It's nothing too complex, I think, to understand. So we have a front end, which is the client, which is right now we are using React as a technology, and then we have a backend, which is own logic, which is handled by the controllers, the models that are formatting the data, and their services that are communicating with the third parties applications. In this case, an example would be the Facebook Marketing API or the database. And all of this is communicating with the client through the API, which is in Express.js. So having this scope on how it works, let's get into the first challenge that we have faced in this type of industry. Which one of these are like that we have different types of insights for different types of campaigns. So what does it mean? Well, there's a lot of different types of campaigns that you can launch. Like when you're advertising, you can optimize by brand awareness, by reach, by link clicks, whatever you want to optimize your campaigns for. That is what we call objectives or campaign types. And when we are requesting insights for like the data that campaign is generating, some of them are shared between all of the campaign types, but some of them are specific for a type of the campaign. So we needed to figure out logic behind it in an algorithms to divide these functionalities so that we know exactly when we can have like a specific function that brings the common insights for all the campaign types, and when do we have to detect like exactly what type of campaign you are, so you have this additional information that we need to request. And then in here we have some examples of like if you're launching a conversion campaigns, something like this would be like the specifics of the conversions insights, and something like this would be like the specific that you want to show video views insights. So if you have a campaign that doesn't have any videos in its ads, you're not going to be able to to display this metric, right? How, like, this is only specific for video view, so it's like an example. And the way we did this is like, once we get the common insights for all of the campaigns, we then go and make an additional analysis or conditional to check which campaign type are we dealing with, and if we need to get the specific insights for that campaign type. This is a very overview scenario, very tiny functions of what we call a controller, which handles the logic and communicates with the service, which is communicating with the third-party applications, and then the model, which is the ones that are in charge of formatting the data so that the client can read it. In here we come with the challenge number 2 that we face, which is the dependencies of information. What this means is we have the problem that we have is, like, we have a campaign ID, and then to be able to get like the detailed insights of how that campaign is performing, we cannot just send the campaign ID to Facebook and tell me, like, return me everything. No, we need to have specific settings for that campaign available to be able to request another data. So it's like the typical problem that you need the general info of the campaign. The general info of the campaign can include, I don't know, the date ranges, the attributions of the campaign, the campaign main metric that is set up to be able to request the other sections of the campaign. So a lot of the information is dependent on the last information that you requested, or like or something else that a campaign has to be able to request, like the breakdowns and stuff like that. So in this dependent, what we had to figure out is we needed to make like a synchronous design between the controllers and their service. So this way we could wait until we have the information that we need before continuing to the next step. And here's a very simple example of a synchronous design. We need to have the campaign breakdowns before we make the request for the engagement campaign, for example. So you can see here that synchronous architecture. And then the 2 challenges that I mentioned before are very not normal, but everyday engineer challenge that you can face, that we need to figure out how's the best logic, how's the best infrastructure that we need to create, how can we make this more efficiently. And the 3rd challenge, which is one that I want to highlight the most, is the typical challenge of like if you depend on a third service for your product, in this case, Facebook Marketing API. The reason that Facebook Marketing API is challenging is because Facebook itself does not make money by the people who actually uses the API. You know, Facebook has its own platform that you can launch campaigns through them. They're making a lot of money on advertising, and then they offer the service of, okay, you can request my data through my API, but it's not like their main service to offer. If you compare the first Facebook Marketing API to an API that is mostly based on that, like the API is the service, like for example, Stripe. Like Stripe API, the documentation has to be very good. The service that they give to developers has to be very good because they make their money out of it. Like people need to use their API to integrate Stripe to their website for them to succeed, let's say. In Facebook, it's not that way. So Facebook actually has some challenges that I'm going to mention in the next few slides that we needed to tackle as a team of developers. And then in hand with this challenge is also that the product is very young and it's still growing. So we are a very young, actually, tech company, and our product and our stakeholders are every day discovering what they actually need in the platform. So we need to make our code very adaptable for changes in the future. In an example that I found was like the breakdowns. Like when you request insights of a campaign, you can request it, break down the data, let's say, into sections. Right now, we support in our platform age, we support country, gender, like all of the insights breakdown into these sections. But we could have more breakdowns in the future. The way that we did that is that we made the code adaptable in the future. Right now, we have a list of the breakdown types, and if in a future we just wanted to support another type of breakdown, it's just a simple step of adding it to the list, and everything should work fine. So that's where we're trying always to aim to think about how can we make this code super adaptable. So in the future, if we need to expand it, we make the less code changes as possible, let's say, and we will be able to support it. And going back to the Facebook Marketing API, I just wanted to give a glimpse of like the difficult, like the little why is it difficult sometimes to handle the Facebook Marketing API, and why you have to really do research and get to know exactly how Facebook works underneath. In this example, let's try to think of a very simple metric that you want to see. You want to see how many purchases have your ads generated, let's say. Sounds very simple. Sounds like you probably just send like a campaign ID and just the word purchases, and hopefully Facebook will return like the number of purchases. But it's actually not exactly that simple. First, you need to know what metric are you going to request, because Facebook does not give you directly like the purchases. It gives you a list of actions. The actions can be everything, any action that was produced by your ad. So post reactions, video views, post engagement, clicks, all of those are actions. And once you get this list of actions, you need to go and check and find which one of those are purchases. And sometimes the naming on the action type is very different from what you call it in client. So there's a lot of research done. Like every time you want to add a metric, there's a lot of research done behind it. And sometimes you also face discrepancies between the API of Facebook and what you see in Ads Manager. So for example, in this case, we had a campaign that in the Ads Manager, it was displaying 439 purchases. But through the API, Facebook was returning us only 391. So we were not sure why the number was different. And then after some research, we decided to actually contact their support system. And the support system, at the end, the solution was very simple. It's just that in the same endpoint request, we needed to send like an additional parameter to set the attribution settings of the user account true. So then, like what this means is that Facebook measures like every event in a length of time, let's say, like purchases, if you saw the ads in the last 3 days or something like that. So it counts as a purchase. So sometimes they always return through the API the default, unless you set these user account attribution setting to true. If you do this, then the return will be whatever the user has set up in their account in Ads Manager. So this is actually the one that we want, because if not, we're going to give them the overview of purchases, but in a different timeline, let's say. This was something that was not in the documentations of the insights whatsoever. Like they had some documentation of it, but it was not in a specific section of the insights. So this is the kinds of things that you really need to get to know and experience is your best friends when handling these kind of difficult APIs, when the documentation sometimes is a bit shallow, per se. And once we do that change, we managed to have the correct data that we needed for the purchases. And yeah, in overview, this is like 3 of the main challenges and solutions that we have faced in the last few years working at Leaf, and how we are always improving our code. A lot of the things that I mentioned are changing bit by bit. For example, the screenshots of the code that was in JavaScript, we already changed it to TypeScript, and we are always improving. But yeah, overall, that's it.